Good morning. I thought that I should maybe start to show the process of what we're working on. I don't know why, other than it's something that I've seen other people do. I don't really know how to animate. I don't know how to produce a show. I don't know how to do much of anything. What I have been really good at is putting myself in front of a microphone and then rambling on and on for hours on end. So this time around, I figured I would just try to see if I could talk for about 20 minutes. And from there, who knows? The sky's the limit. This is me working on some rough animatics for page 19 of the script, of the pilot script of ASO, a series about spacefaring cats and the galaxy and the universe that they live in. This particular scene happens to take place in the Hall of Justice for the Space Force. That's the unifying intergalactic association that the cats, or the Malkians, mew, 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 as they're called, have formed as they became a spacefaring race. And in the Hall of Justice, we're there because we were introduced to the chief science officer, presumably, of the ship, Paul, who has been detained and is being tried for some probably misdemeanors and maybe even a few felonies. Who knows? What I'm doing here is the frame by frame sketching out and drawing of the clerk. However, usually in these kind of proceedings, in a court proceeding, judges, in this case the Justicariat, happens to have a clerk who can review and fact check live. So I don't know. I don't know, guys. You got to stick with me. The process of animation, so I learned, is drawing picture after picture after picture after picture, and it is more to it than that. I don't want to disrespect any of the actual animators that I have on my that I've connected with in my network. I get that it's a lot more than that, but to start, for me, the understanding is that's all. That's what it is. One picture after another picture. That's frame by frame animation. So here, what you're seeing is me drawing out the frames, going to the next frame, and then starting the next one. And if you're an animator, you see I'm trying to utilize a time frame. I'm trying to do a 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 at the start, 2 at the end, and then 1 in the center, as kind of a basic time frame for the character and where the character is going to go. I utilized a smear frame earlier on just to kind of get the character from looking to the Justicar down to looking at her screen. And now I'm drawing out the fingers to reach up and to grab, like she's holding on to the screen because she's going to end up turning herself to look back and explain. The line in that is she's fumbling over the explanation of what's going on here. Paul has just recently given. He's rattled off a code that he memorized that he intends to utilize to get himself leniency in his sentencing, and the judge doesn't know what that is. This is not uncommon. Judges don't know everything, and having a clerk to be able to fact check and look up the law is useful in that situation. And so that's what's happening. The clerk says he's citing accurate code just to carry it, and then looking at it and saying the code that he's citing is for certain diplomatic candidates, which Mr. Long Whisker qualifies. He says, him? He says, affirmative, Justice. His family are diplomats to the gangrel species in Quadrant Gamma. And if you know White Wolf, you'll get the reference there. If you don't worry about it. Just think of it as a species of wolves somewhere off in the distance. But they're diplomats. I'm bogged down in the weeds here of this. I of everything for it. What I'm slowly discovering by doing this process is that a lot of the times I have to do a little bit of everything. So when I'm drawing this out, I'm saying, all right, if I draw these animatics, if I put together these storyboards, will the illustrators know how to finish it? Will they be able to apply color to it? Can they use their expertise to finish it? You know, we're talking about taking something from development to conceptualization to the actual production process, and that takes time. So we're making slow adjustments. You just got to give us time. I say. Here I'm utilizing another smear frame. And I don't know how smear frames work. What I have seen them done, I've seen them done where it's just a few paint drawings, just a couple of lines to indicate that. I'm utilizing an example where I'm showing, that's where I accidentally backed out and went back in. I'm showing the actual timetable. So what you'll see is in the red, the circle of where the head started. You see where the head ended, and in there's another head near the start, another head near the end, and then one in the middle. And that's to try and create somewhat of a smooth transition for the illusion of the character going from her screen, turning to just to carry it. I think I'm pulling it off. All of that to say one thing. The physicality of the character is just as important as the lines of the character. And for ASO, the physicality comes from the reads that our actors give. In Western animation, the script comes first. Actors always pay homage to the script, but after the script, it's then audio. All of the actors have to be paid, and then their lines recorded, and from that recording, the rough sketches can then be made. Some shows, I guess, are board driven. I watched a few shows that touted it being a board driven production. I have no idea how to go about doing something like that. I was a writer long before I was an illustrator, I think. So here the clerk is turning back, and the program I'm using is a very simple one, very, very basic, but we work with the tools that we have at our disposal. And I have here on my desk with me the series art Bible. In my office, I try to go as paperless as possible. That's at least what I said to my to the the leasing, the manager of the building, um, and I do think that's a good idea. We're trying to save trees, but not like anybody else even remembers that. You know, we're trying to save the trees, save the trees. Dot dot dot. I digress. And for the series Art Bible is important for illustrators and artists because it shows the characters' models, and so when drawing a scene or when developing a scene, it's good to have the character models so you can see what's this character going to look like, what elements of the character need to be included. In this case, I'm drawing out basic, just adding a little bit of color, like a little treat. That's just something that a friend has said before, and it's a little treat. Her uniform matches and is similar color to Tabitha's. I wanted to draw a similarity. I wanted to draw a color theme between the two, where Tabby is Dodger's number 1 on the ship, and her color scheme is a gray and a mauve coloration. I kind of wanted to draw a similar parallel between the Justicar and his clerk being his number 2. So her uniform is going to have a similar color palette to Tabby's. It's also makes my life easier. Instead of having to try and like come up with a new color palette for every single character, having a similar uniform color pattern theme, it just make things go a little bit quicker. It make the animation go quicker. Well, hello. The series is one that's it's made. I guess it's been made for kids. So it's probably we're probably talking within maybe the tween demographic. Our audience surrogate, Bartholomew, maybe a 6 to 11-year-old boy who's practiced and trained his heart out to be a galactic spacefaring hero, and has the mindset that if you just show up and just start doing what it is that you want to be doing, then that's what it takes. You just have to start doing and being what you want to be. So whatever that is, if you want to be a space captain, then you just start acting how you think a space captain acts. You find a hero or someone to emulate, and then you just do what they do. And he figures that that's the best way to go about it. His opposite, Claudia, she is a maybe our more 14 to 17-year-old demographic. She's worked. She understands. She's the first in her family to actually like get a college degree. Something that has happened, something in America, which is somewhat common, but perhaps less common these days. I don't have the numbers on that. Here I'm starting another scene, and something I'm trying out, which is rather than jumping right into doing a full complete character, I am just trying to kind of sketch out a rough blocking of the Justicariat's head, and then kind of an idea, and that's it. I had a glimpse, a vision of what his action would be doing as he's thinking. The dialogue passes from the clerk back to the Justicar. She's done the fact checking and has presented that to him, and so he's reviewing it for himself and having to think it over. He's tapping his head and he's thinking with his hands in this case. And it's looking fine. I think so. So I think I might complete that afterwards. So, is something you do, and well is a 6-foot hole in the ground you go to when you're thirsty. Claudia has done everything she can by the book. She's gone through the recruitment process, so she's gone through training. She has tested countless times, and each time's gotten better. She knows that there is a system and there's a process that you have to go through to achieve what you want to achieve. And she knows that she wants to serve on a ship. She just happens to be in the recruitment fair for Captain Dodger's, the year that Captain Dodger has come to recruit a new cadet. And Claudia is the one chosen. She is the official new cadet. But fate usually ordains us to try to succeed. When we try something for the first time, sometimes we tend to notice that the universe wants us to succeed, and so when we attempt something on the first go-around, we succeed, and we get what it is that we want. After that, it's doing the work, and keep doing the work to finish the project. And so Bartholomew shows up without having gone through any of the steps, any of the processes, and experiences his disappointment that they're not going to let him in. However, fate has ordained that this is his chance. And there's early on in this scene, there's this raccoon, nature's bandit, as someone calls him, who robs a prawn shop. That's a pawn shop managed by a prawn. You see, they're funny that way. And an SOS call goes out. Captain Dodger's called to the SOS call, and sure enough, when he arrives, Bartholomew is on the scene, and Captain Dodger saves Bartholomew from this badnik and feels bad for him, sees something in himself, and brings him aboard the ship. And we have our two characters who have a lot of lessons to learn on this wild journey, and figure out their own paths to achieve the dreams that they want to achieve. And it's important to know that took a year. It took me about maybe a year to spec out the script and to reach out to executives and to report my progress with professionals in the industry to let them know what's going on and what I'm doing. I don't know the first thing about actually working within the industry. I do understand corporate structure from a legal perspective, and I do understand that when you come on, you usually have someone to report to. So you report your progress and what you do with a superior, and that's just what I started doing, was reporting what I'm doing with people within the industry, and can't wait to see what this does for my career. I also don't know the first thing about writing jokes. I have one that I'm working on right now, which is what is Winnie the Pooh's blood type? Oh, bother.